Is Ohio State experimenting or just worried about winning? Tim Bielek, Doug Lesmeri, Bill Landis. Urban Meyer talked about that today. He said in the past, yeah, we've experimented in some easy games, but he said, we're not at that point. He's worried about the pass defense. He's worried about growth in the passing game. He's worried about special teams. So he says they're just trying to win. Tim, do you buy that, or is this an experimental time last week against Army in the next couple games?
I'm not buying what he's saying, to be honest. I think we all know Urban's a smart guy. He's looking at these last couple games, Army last week, this week UNLV, next week Rutgers, as chances to try some different things. For example, the run-pass options we saw on offense, that was something that, we didn't see a lot of early. I think that's something we see more of, in the next weeks to come, just to see what works. And I think, in a way, that's what we talked about with the talent difference. Ohio State can get away with that against these lesser teams. They can just simply out-talent them, win by a lot, and they can just see what works and what they can try to implement in the bigger games to come.
So that's why they're not just handing it to J.K. Dobbins 30 times, because they're experimenting?
Yeah, maybe experimenting is not quite the right word, but they're feeling some stuff out like that. If they were playing a good team last week instead of playing Army, they wouldn't have used that game plan. They didn't when they played a good team the week before. They didn't do it when they played Indiana, who's a halfway decent team. There's a clear trend when they play good teams, they bottle everything up, and when they play bad teams, they sort of spread it out and try some different stuff. They're absolutely doing that right now against Army. They're going to do it against UNLV this week. They're going to do it the week after that against Rutgers. I think what it is Ohio State is not quite what it thought it would be at this point. So Urban Meyer, I don't even know if they were good if he would say that publicly, but he's certainly not going to say it publicly now. But it has to be the case. They have to find things that work against these teams. It's not just a matter of, lining up and crossing your fingers and hoping you beat UNLV. That's bogus.
But do you think, quick answer, he's legitimately concerned about some of these areas, that they're not as good as he thought they would be? Is he legitimately concerned about some areas, yes or no?
Yes, especially pass defense.
Yeah, pass defense and special teams.
I think he's knocked back on his heels a little bit, that this senior-laden team with so much back from last year that a lot of people picked to win the national championship aren't kicking people's butts. So of course they're experimenting some, but I do think he's locked in more on, we got to win, we got to get this right. I think he's taking not as much stuff for granted as they would be if this season had started as people expected. Tim, Doug, Bill, all week here at cleveland.com, not talking about UNLV, but talking about a lot of other different things, interesting things that matter with this team.